Hi, it's Colin Coward. I started The Volume to bring you some of the most authentic voices in sports. While you're here, make sure you hit subscribe. Thanks.
I love Jon Rahm this week. And my thought process on this is simple. I think Jon Rahm, when it's all said and done, will go down as one of the greatest players in the history of the game. Well, to do that, you have to win a lot of golf tournaments. And I heard Pat Perez last week. He was on with Colt Dost and Sleaze on their podcast, Golf Subpar. And he talked about he plays with Jon Rahm at Silverleaf Country Club in Arizona. They both live in Scottsdale, where I would love to not only live and be a member, hopefully here in the near future. And he mentioned that Jon Rahm told him a long time ago that I'm not in this for the money. He's already super rich. I'm not in this for the fame. I'm in this to try to win 19 majors. I'm in this to become a legend. Well, part of becoming a legend is rattling off some big boy tournaments. He was the best player in the Ryder Cup, though his team lost. But it was clear he dominated. Besides when Scotty Scheffler beat him, and it looks like Scotty Scheffler's now won 2 of the last 3 tournaments. Google Scotty Scheffler's winnings. They have not played the majors. They have not played the players, and he already has made $5 million. Scotty Scheffler getting awfully rich this season. But Jon Rahm, whose ball striking statistics this year, off the tee, distance off the tee, tee to green, and greens hit, all either lead the PGA Tour or are top 3 or 4. There is no one in the game of golf who is playing better tee to green than Jon Rahm. He's the number 1 player in the world for a while, for a reason. Now, Colin Morikawa was right on his heels. Jon Rahm has not putted well this year, which is a problem. But Jon Rahm has proven before many times that he can putt, and his short game is more than serviceable. I have a large, sizable wager on Jon Rahm. The conditions are going to get weird this weekend. Rain, cold, I don't give a shit. The cream should rise. I love Jon Rahm this weekend. And to me, this is a type moment where Jon Rahm, if he's going to be the player we become, he has a season where he wins the players and maybe he wins 2 majors. That's how you become a legend. Like Morikawa's already won 2 majors. He's got 1 more than Jon Rahm. And now everyone's picking him to win the players. Like, is it really just going to be this easy? Is Colin Morikawa going to fly by Jon Rahm and become the number 1 player in the world? We're about to find out. I know my gut, and part of it, and I tell Sobel this, is value. Jon Rahm has consistently been 7-8 to 1 every single week, which is insane odds for a guy that hasn't been winning that much. But, he's great player. The odds are like Tiger level. Not quite. Tiger used to be like 3-4 to 1. But you get 8 to 1, like I haven't bet him. You put the odds 12 to 1, 14 to 1, basically double, I'm in. This is his moment. I like Jon Rahm this weekend. Also have a little bit on Koepka and on Xander Schauffele to top 5. The horses are coming out to play this weekend. This ain't the weekend for the ponies. The Secretariat's walking through that door. $20 million. The winner of the players gets $3.6 million. Second place gets $2.18 million. Third place gets $1.38 million. The irony of Phil Mickelson talking about the greed and the tour kind of fucking everyone, it's proven to be a little bit of BS. The amount of money all these guys are making right now playing golf is absurd, and it's only going to get bigger moving forward. And listen, I like golf more than any other sport besides football, but like golf ain't quite the NBA or baseball just historically yet, and it's starting to pay out money that they've never, ever sniffed. And Tiger hasn't played a tournament now in over a year. It ain't like they're carrying. Hell, you could argue their biggest star, just in terms of name recognition, Bryson DeChambeau, we haven't seen him all year. So the PGA, where they're headed, the money they're giving out, this sport is now, it's been big business, but is becoming huge business for tour players. So it's going to be fascinating to watch this week. People get tight because of the amount of money, the pressure on the line this weekend. I don't think we're going to see that many randoms in the mix. Now, sometimes when weather gets weird, it neutralizes, the top players. It makes the field a little wider, right? If it's hard, firm, and fast, random guys aren't going to be in the mix. The cream's going to rise. The best players are going to be near the top, right? The Rahms, the Morikawas, the Xanders, the Cantlays, those type guys. Sometimes you get rain, you get some wind. You could add some players to the mix, though it's pretty clear the difficulty of this tournament, the pressure now involved with the money in this tournament. I think it's really going to separate. I will be stunned if we see more than like one random name near the top 10. Now, when you look historically, like I have a bet on Jordan Spieth to be in the mix. And Jordan Spieth has not played well at this tournament. But historically, a lot of guys win this tournament and then miss the cut the next year. When you look at all the top players, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay, all these guys have missed the cut at the Players. So it's not the fifth major. It's the Players Championship. It's completely separate. But, you could argue there are really, in my mind, three majors. Augusta, the U.S. Open, and I call it the British Open. Then there's the PGA, which to me, the PGA and the Players are very, very similar, right? But usually at the PGA, like the Players, the top dogs come to play. And I'm very, very excited for this tournament. I wish it was just good weather. You could add wind, but I wish it was sunny, firm, fast. And I'm excited to watch. But again, I like Jon Rahm, and I like Jon Rahm big this weekend. I wouldn't say it was controversial, but anytime that you get a tournament that is very, very difficult, two things happen. The players complain, and, sometimes, listen, if you're playing, like, have you ever played a tough golf course? It's easy to bitch and moan. It sucks, even if you're a random average player, you're a 10 handicap, when you have no chance at par. And when you're a good pro, when you have no chance at birdie and holes that should be parable, a bogey, you feel pretty good, it's going to piss you off. So I never blame players in the heat of the moment for complaining. It's like after you lose as an NFL player, as a basketball player, if I have to talk to the press 15 minutes after the game, like I understand emotions are running high. I remember Gary St. Jean used to tell me, he used to be the head coach of the Sacramento Kings, and he was a GM for a while. He worked for the Warriors. He's like, one thing I'd always do is after a game, win or loss, but specifically after a bad loss, I'd slam a beer. And it would just take a little pressure off me because I know I have to get in front of the cameras and I might say something stupid. And a lot of guys obviously last week complained, Rory specifically. And Rory mentioned, I saw at the Players, he said, a lot of guys in the clubhouse on Sunday were drinking. And it wasn't a ceremonial drink. It was drinking our sorrows away because how hard it was. Even though Jon Rahm, this is kind of why I like him next week, said, not only will I be back, I enjoyed playing like this. I know as a viewer and as a consumer, and let's face it, we pay the bills. I say it all the time. Fans pay for everything involved with pro sports. Without the fans, there is no business model. It's just a high-level game of YMCA, or it's a high-level skins game. That's what it is. As a viewer and as someone that had money on guys like Gary Woodland, who had Billy Horschel to top 10, who had different bets out there, I find it very, very enjoyable to watch guys struggle. Gary Woodland had a stretch where he eagles 16, takes the lead, the next hole he double bogeys to fall back a one shot behind the lead. That, to me, you do not get at the majority of non-major tournaments because most of them, it's just a birdie fest. And as a gambler, when you have a guy in a birdie fest, it's hard to come back. You don't see that many guys get double bogeys. You don't see that many guys have devastating hit it out of bounds or hit it in the water down the stretch. But at the Arnold Palmer, where it was impossible to keep the ball in the fairway because they were concrete, they were basically concrete. The greens, who, as Harry Higgs said on the No Lane Up podcast, are dead. And he basically meaning they're rock hard. You cannot hold the greens. And then the rough, and I think a lot of the media elites that cover golf, like the best part about where I stand, I'm not too close to the game. I'm looking at it strictly from a fan, someone who loves the game, and someone who loves playing the game and loves gambling on the game. I like the high rough because when you have the slopes where you just basically have a second cut, aka the fringe, like Riv does, and you can just roll off the green, I find it creates much more chaos with 9-inch rough. Yeah, it stops the ball immediately when it leaves the fairway or leaves the green, but then it's a very, very difficult chip, and that creates chaos. That creates maybe a bogey turns into a double. We saw it all the time. And now there's sand at the Arnold Palmer clearly sucks, and Azinger mentioned on the broadcast, like ultimately Arnold Palmer always wanted to get a U.S. Open at Bay Hill. He never got one, and he never will. Obviously, he's long gone, but Bale's never going to have it. But they set it up. They manipulate it, which I got no problem with. I enjoy watching something different. In college and the NFL, we see so many teams win a game in the NFL 35-30. In college, 48-44. That's fun. Every once in a while, it's fun to watch a bunch of touchdowns, right? No defense play, just touchdown, 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 big play, big play, big play. I'm a sucker for a 17-14 NFL playoff game. The SEC championship game where every yard is contested. I enjoy that. Just like I enjoy watching a golf tournament. I don't mind watching some golf tournaments 19, 20, 21 under win it. And you're shooting 30 on the back nine on Sunday. And a lot of guys are shooting, 31, 32. Everyone's going under par. That happens a lot. We're used to seeing that. Just like in football now. We're used to seeing a lot of touchdowns. I like a curveball. I like knowing that -5 might win this thing. That if you just shoot, I had money on Taylor Gooch. Taylor Gooch on the front nine who went into Sunday winning the golf tournament. I was going to win $2,000 if Taylor Gooch won the tournament. He shot 43 on the front nine. If you shoot 43 in basically any tournament, beside maybe the U.S. Open if you have a lead, in all season long, you have no chance probably to top 10. You're done. You're going to plummet. Yet he birdies a couple holes early on the back nine, and he's 2 shots behind the leaders. It's like, God, Taylor Gooch is not dead. I don't mind that. And honestly, I think a lot of fans, and I got a lot of DMs that are like, this is kind of cool. It's fun to watch the best players in the world occasionally look like us. And listen, I saw a lot of people like the average, scratch handicap or, scratch golfer or 2 handicap or 5 handicap would shoot 100. We get that. We cannot comprehend how hard that golf tournament would be. I can watch some of these holes, these crazy-ass dog legs with lakes everywhere. I would not want to play there, right? I mean, most of us would not. It would be impossible. But these top players can literally play any course in the world and shoot 68 with their eyes closed. It's cool to watch them shoot 75, 76 occasionally. Because sometimes on our best days, we shoot 75, 76. If you're a 4 handicap like me, I know we got some good golfers listening. We got some guys that would die to shoot 76, 77. But I find it enjoyable every once in a while to watch several guys, the majority of the guys, the average scoring to be 76. Even if, they're manipulating a little bit. I'm cool with that. I don't want to watch that every weekend, but if it's going to happen once or twice a year, non-major, count me in. I think it's Wednesday night. Tiger Woods, shocker, is entering the Golf Hall of Fame. You probably could have put Tiger in the Hall of Fame in like 2001, so he's been Hall of Fame eligible. I don't know literally what the golf rules are, but he was a Hall of Famer by the time he was like 25 years old. Listening to the Stevie Williams podcast, Chasing Majors, he won back-to-back majors in 2000, the U.S. Open and the British Open at St. Andrews, by a combined 22 shots. He won 2 majors in a row. Obviously, he won 4 straight majors. But, the Masters, I think he only won by a couple shots in 2001. And the PGA, he either won in extra holes or he won on hole 18 on Sunday. But he won back-to-back majors, Pebble Beach and St. Andrews, by a combined 22 shots. I feel very, very confident in the history of golf moving forward. We will never see a player win back-to-back majors by 22 shots. I would actually put $100,000 on that right now. I would cut a check. $100,000, boom. We will never see that again because it's never going to happen. That, to me, he has a lot of great accomplishments. I mean, hell, his first U.S. amateur, Tiger Woods, happened at TPC Sawgrass. I tweeted it out on Monday night, and he's down 6 shots. You play 36 holes in the U.S. amateur in the final round. He was down 6 shots, came back, ended up taking the lead on hole 17. This was 1994. I do believe TPC Sawgrass, like Tiger was famous as a 2-year-old, right? He went on television. People knew about him in the golfing world. But in 1994, when he won the U.S. Amateur, I think he might have been a senior in high school, might have been his freshman year in college. I'm pretty sure he was a senior in high school. Because I think 95, 96 were his 2 years at Stanford. I might be off on the timeline. Maybe it was his freshman year in college. But I think that is when the legend and the mystique of Tiger Woods began. Obviously, he would go on to win 2 more U.S. amateurs. But winning that, he takes the lead on hole 17, the famous par 3, knocks in a putt from the rough, the fringe, that easily could have gone in the water. He was 6 down, he went 1 up, and then he won hole 18. He hugs Earl Woods. Brent Musburger, who was working for ESPN at the time, it was the biggest comeback in the history of the U.S. amateur at the time. I would imagine it still is. And kind of giving the layout of Earl Woods, who was a multiple tours in Vietnam, was a Green Beret, one of the guys that he served with, whose nickname was Tiger. He named Tiger after. Earl Woods had not talked to Tiger, who he knew since they left Vietnam. It's crazy because technology in the 70s and 80s, like if you don't have a guy's phone number, there's no such thing as emails. There's no there's no Googling them. You just lose touch with people. And now, almost 30 years later, Tiger's entering the Hall of Fame. And I do think it's pretty cool that he's having his daughter introduce him, and Sam and Charlie, part of, it sucks in a way for them that when you're as famous as Tiger is, your kids become so famous. They didn't necessarily ask for it. And Charlie's going to be, I'll be shocked at minimum if he's not like a mini tour player. He'll probably end up going to Stanford. Well, I can see him at the SEC. I can see Florida, Georgia, Alabama. I can see Tiger keeping him in the SEC country. But Stanford's a pretty special place. But yeah, it's a pretty cool moment. Bryson, like I mentioned, not playing in this tournament. Obviously didn't play last week, defending his championship. Match play is in a couple weeks at Austin Country Club. Who knows if he's going to show up there. Augusta's basically March Madness starts next week. So March Madness, you're 4 weeks away from the Final Four, and then the week after the Final Four, Jim Nantz always goes Final Four Masters. So we're not very far away. And if this guy can't stay healthy, are we going to see Bryson DeChambeau again? Are we ever going to see him on the PGA Tour? Who knows? It's a little bizarre. And then last but not least, the commissioner, he just wouldn't comment on the Saudi. And I just, who knows? It's going to be a topic. As long as Phil's missing, are we going to end up seeing Phil he's the defending champ at the PGA Championship, and that's in a couple months. But he's won Augusta several times. They have this little thing, as anyone that's listening to this and knows golf knows, called the Champions Dinner. And pretty sure champions don't usually miss that dinner. So if Phil misses the Masters, that would be the first whoa, this has gotten pretty weird. This has gotten pretty crazy. And I would say that's on the table right now. I don't think Phil by any means is a lock to be seen again. Now, like I said, Jay Monahan would not comment. Unlike the NFL. Calvin Ridley bets on the NFL, which you can't bet on your own sport. If it ever came out that, I guess it would be a little different in golf if Patrick Cantlay bet on himself. Of course, there's no spread to cover. He's just betting on himself, the top 5 or top 10 or to win. But the NFL announces Calvin Ridley has been suspended a year. In golf, they don't announce. Dustin Johnson got suspended. They didn't announce it. So if Phil's suspended, they're not going to tell you. Now, you would think that would leak, but it hasn't yet. Okay, let's get to some questions. GoLow Pod. GoLow Pod is the Instagram. GoLow Pod is the Instagram. Slide up into those DMs and get your question answered here on the show. Joe, from New York, longtime listener to the 3 and Out podcast, started listening to GoLow Pod right before the Phoenix Open and have enjoyed the content. I enjoyed the content for someone like myself who has been trying to play and watch more golf the past 5 years. Question for the pod. Since New York started allowing mobile sports books in January, such as FanDuel, this is my first year betting golf. I have sprinkled a few winners and top 10 bets the past couple tournaments, and even took Hovland first round 3 balls only to see him lose that day to Horschel and catch fire the following day in the Arnold Palmer. Do you prefer to stay away from first and second round player round bets, or do you think it's worth playing that along with a winner or top 10 finish? Also, great hit on the Woodland top 5. I tailed you on that and made some money myself. Good shit. Gary Woodland's been playing great. I even sprinkled a little bit on Gary Woodland this week. Just $25 to win this tournament. Don't love him, but he's just been playing well. I have never done the 2-round group betting. The only bets I've ever done in my life, I've done a lot of winners. I bet a lot of winners. When I love a winner, I'll put $100, $200. But it's not like, let's say you bet $500 on an NFL game, and that's a lot of money. But, or you bet $100 on an NFL game, you wouldn't necessarily do that on a golfer just because you got to beat 140 people. So betting outright winners is very, very difficult, right? We all know that. I have had a lot of success betting top 5s and top 10s. I hit Gary Woodland. I hit Billy Horschel. I hit Alex Noren the week before. It's much easier to hit if you feel good about a player. Like, ultimately, I love Jon Rahm this week. Betting him to outright win, Jon Rahm, when's the last time he won a tournament? I'll tell you, Torrey Pines, U.S. Open. To me, the smart play would be betting him to hit the top 5. But I'm getting 14-1. I put $350 on Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm wins his tournament, I win $5,000. Like, I'm going big. But I put $50 on Xander Schauffele to top 10 or top 5. I put some money on Brooks Koepka to top 5. I bet top 5s, top 10s, and winners. I've done the group betting for the week. Like last week, I had Hideki to beat some people. He didn't. He ended up not beating maybe Rory. He didn't beat a couple guys. maybe it was, I forget who he didn't beat. It was Hovland. Hovland was also in the group. I would never do a bet on just 2 rounds. I would do it over a 4-round period. Now, sometimes your guy might miss the cut, but I would recommend going top 5s and top 10s. And maybe the specific group betting over 4 days. That would be my bet. This weekend, I told my brother that Billy Horschel looks like Patrick Bateman on the PGA Tour. He thought that was funny enough for me to DM it to you. Just to be clear, I'm not accusing him of being a serial killer. But shit, the look, his mannerisms, tell me I'm wrong. We've been listening to all your content since the beginning. Love the pod. Keep stacking bills, not bodies. Billy Horschel has some Patrick Bateman vibes, for sure. If you need to Google it, just Google it. Now, if you've watched the movie, was that all a dream? Was he actually killing people, or was that just something he dreamed? I've always wondered that. I've never exactly had the answer, but yeah, Billy Horschel's a different cat. Different cat. As someone who's played with Billy Horschel, I asked him, I'm like, what's his deal? He just says he's an intense guy. And, some people don't like him. Some people did. The guy that I talked to that's played with him on the PGA Tour liked him. Enjoyed his intensity. Just thought he was different, but in a good way. Fan. Enjoy the football talk as well as the golf chats. Suggestion. Second golf pod Sunday nights after the tour wraps up. Your thoughts. Also, what major do you think Max Homa has the best shot of winning this year? One thing I might do, I have a YouTube channel, just John Middlekauff, just my own YouTube channel. I haven't posted to do in a while. Maybe after like the Players Championship, the majors, I'll just go on the YouTube channel and just give some thoughts on what just happened. Because I'm watching it, I might as well do some content on it. So if you go to the YouTube channel, my own YouTube channel, John Middlekauff, subscribe to that. Maybe that is where I will start posting post-tour event golf content on Sunday. Do you think the golf ratings are going to go up because people are able to work from home? I know there's a growing love for the sport, but I feel like just being able to have the option to turn it on in the background highly contributes to being drawn in instead of starting to watch a tournament halfway through. That is a great question. I'm so biased and I'm so close to the sun. Like, I watch so much golf. I'm not a great representation of like how great golf is. It's like asking me like how important football is. Now, I know because we all see the ratings, football's number one, but I tell you it's really important. But I'd tell you that if football was down, right? To me, golf feels really, really big. But I play it, I consume it, I talk about it. I think it has a chance. Now, if I take my emotion out of it, I do think its growth potential is extremely high because it's one of the one sports that us guys and women too, but like I have 99% guys listen to this podcast, football and the golf one, that can play when you're 40, 50, 60 years old. We are not able to play football at 45 years old. There's no, I just had a great pickup game at Jerry's World. That doesn't happen. Really, the only sport you can play pickup is pickup basketball. Even baseball, you're not playing fast pitch at 40. You might play some beer league softball, but that's not baseball. You can go play TPC Sawgrass. So this weekend, $20 million, the players, if me and 3 people that are listening to this were like, hey, July, you want to play TPC Sawgrass? Now, it might cost us $500, $600 or whatever. I don't know what the rate is to play there. It's probably not cheap. We'd go play it. Like, we can't go play at Lambeau Field. We can't go play at Staples Center or I guess crypto.com, right? We can't go play at MSG, Shoe Baskets, but we can go play at Bethpage Black. We can go play, some private courses we won't be able to get on, but we can go play Pebble Beach. We can go play Pebble Beach. What's the NFL equivalent for Pebble Beach? Lambeau? Like, there is no getting on Lambeau. Just a walk, let alone throw the football. So I think golf's growth is massive. Television ratings, I think it'll be something we learn as time goes on. Gary Woodland lost so much money on hole 17 and 18. Nothing like going eagle to take the lead and finishing double bogey. That hurt. Personally, I like betting matchups unless it's the Masters or something big. Do you think you could drop a 10-15 pod on Saturdays after the cut line has established and talk about guys you think will hold it together and guys you think will fall apart? Maybe I should just put some golf content up on Fridays and Sunday nights after the tournament. So going in after the cut and then again Sunday. Maybe that's a lane that I could take advantage of. I just have to do that on YouTube. On the podcast, we got a football mailbag that comes out over the weekend, and then I got a football pod that comes out. Like, ultimately, listen, I love golf, but football's a lucrative venture to talk about. But I just got to put a place to put my golf content, and luckily we got YouTube channel. We got a lot of content places to go. What's your philosophy on practice swings? Do you take a few to get a feel, really hone in, and dissect how to play, or just say, fuck it, I'm just hitting the ball? Right now, I've played like twice in 2022. So if I was playing, last time I played like crap. I'm a 4, but I'm playing like an 8. And I shot 81 only because I made like 3 long putts on the back and a couple were birdies. I did not. I played like, I should have shot 88. It was terrible. I was taking practice swings like every hole. I could not get a feel. Now, when I'm in the summer and in the swing of things and I'm playing well and shooting 76, 77, 78, 79, but hitting the ball well, I just line up and swing. So to me, if I'm playing well, I'm like Koepka or DJ. Let it rip. If I'm not playing well, I'm trying to find, even though I don't even know what I'm finding, but it feels like, I'm trying to find that slot, trying to find where my hands are, even though I'm not Tiger Woods here. So to me, it's all about how the game's going. If you're hitting it well, get up there and let it rip. I hate slow players. Rory looking solid so far. Glad I tuned in yesterday while working in the yard. 65 in Indiana. Nice day. Do you watch the main feed or follow a group feed like Rory this morning when betting on a golfer? ESPN Plus, got to give him credit, has done a great job with golf. I usually watch, I'm recording this on Tuesday. So when I get up on Thursday morning, I would imagine the first group, on the players goes out at 7 a.m. Florida time. So we'll go at about 4 o'clock my time. I'm going to get up probably about 5 o'clock. And I'll come into my office, I'll make a cup of coffee, and I'll pretend to work. I'm going to have the players on. I will turn on the main feed, usually. Because the main feed, especially early in the morning, they'll just cover the top guys. Now, when it comes to Friday, afternoon, if they're not showing Rahm, I'll probably just follow Rahm. Now, this one might be unique. Maybe I'll just follow Rahm. Because I have he wins, I get $5,000. Last question. Bit of a fantasy hypothetical that might take some time to think over. If you could draft a lineup for 18 holes, numbered 1 through 18, what is your dream 18? So, for example, you can only pick a 12th hole once. So 12 at Augusta is your 12th hole on the card. Another would be like your 18th hole could be St. Andrews. What does your entire 18 come out to be? I'll be honest, my hole at Augusta would not be the 12th hole. Absolutely no chance my hole at Augusta would be a par 3. My hole at Augusta, and if it was going to be a par 3, it actually might be the 16th hole. But I think it would be the 13th hole would be my hole at Augusta. The dogleg left par 5. Even though I don't play a draw, I play a cut. So it would actually be I'd have to rope draw a 3-wood. But I think it would be hole 13 or hole 15. I'd want to have a chance. It actually might be hole 15 because it's a straightaway par 5. Or maybe hole 18. I think if I was going to do 18, the irony, too, of holes, most courses, you don't think about the front 9, right? Think about Pebble Beach. You think about hole 18. I guess on Pebble Beach you would think about hole 6. Pebble Beach is unique. You do think about the front 9. But Augusta, you think about the back 9. Some of the U.S. Open courses, Olympic Club, you think about the back 9. Riv, I feel like you feel about the back 9 too. Hole 10 at Riv, hole 18 at Pebble, hole 13 or 15 at Augusta, hole 17 at TPC, Scottsdale, short par 4. It's a good question. I haven't played enough golf courses to know on personal experience. I'd have to ask some people. That's a hell of a question. What's my favorite hole at Olympic Club? Spyglass. I could put together a course. That's a good little one. I appreciate everyone. Again, GoLow Pod. Follow it on Instagram. Slide up into those DMs, and we'll keep the golf content coming. I just might have to put up some golf content on my YouTube page. Friday afternoon, Sunday. Now, sometimes Friday, I'm out, rubbing elbows with the people, having some brewskis. Sunday, always home. I'm working. Sunday's a Monday here at the Middlekauff home. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the golf. Jon Rahm. So Jon Rahm, Xander Brooks to top 5. Jordan Spieth to top 5. I have Alex Noren to top 10. Brian Harman to top 10. And Jon Rahm. We just need Jon Rahm to win this bad boy. Talk to everyone soon. Peace.